Alright, so we are going to be solving inequalities now, just with adding and subtracting, and you're going to notice that there's so many similarities to when we did equations. The only difference is writing that inequality when you finish, and this time we're going to be graphing them, because there's, as you remember from yesterday, there's a special way to graph inequalities. So, the steps for solving inequalities are you have to solve for the variable, just like equations. So you're going to get that variable all by itself. And this is really important. You can't just write 3 or 4 or -5. You have to write the actual inequality. So x is less than 5 or x is greater than 2. So you have to make sure you have that inequality. And then at the end you're going to graph and make sure you shade when you graph. So just to review, if we have less than or greater than, you're going to have an open circle. And then if you have less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, you're going to have that closed circle because it could be equal to. So let's jump into it. So before we were just graphing, now we're going to have to solve for that variable. So start just like we started with equations. You're going to draw your line. And we're going to get that x by itself. So we're going to do the opposite operation, just like equations. So x, and then 10 minus 5 is going to give us 5. Now a big mistake is that we're just in the habit of writing that equal sign, but be careful. Take that inequality sign and make sure you write that. So x is less than 5. So I'm going to go to 5 on my number line. It's going to be an open circle, and we're going to shade everything that's less than 5. So it's going to be everything to this side. Okay? So yesterday we were just graphing. This time now you have to solve and graph. So let's look at another one. So we're going to get the x by itself. So we're going to have to add 6 on both sides. So we're left with x. 2 plus 6 will give us 8. And don't do that equal sign. Make sure you bring down the inequality. So I have x is greater than 8. And I'm going to go to graph it. So I'm going to go to 8. Again, have an open circle. I'm going to shade everything that's greater than 8, so it would be on this side. Alright, next one looks a little strange because our variable is on the right side. So we're going to get x by itself, so to do that we're going to do the opposite of adding 3. We're going to subtract 3. So we're left with x, and then we have -1 minus 3 is going to give us -4, and we have our inequality symbol. Okay, personally, when I have the variable on the wrong side, I like to rewrite it so that way it's what I'm used to. So for example, I need my x on this side and my -4 on this side. Right now, if I read this, it says x is greater than or equal to -4. So I have to make sure it stays that way. So notice how you have to actually switch it around. So it still says x is greater than or equal to -4, but you can't just keep that same thing there. So if you flip the inequality around, make sure you're actually flipping that inequality symbol too. Alright, so let's graph it. So we're going to go to -4. Now it's going to be a closed circle. Everything greater than would be to this side. And our last one, we have to get the x by itself, so we're going to add 4 on both sides. So we have x is less than or equal to -5. We're going to go to our graph. So we have -5, it's a closed circle. Everything less than would be this way. So we've solved, we've graphed, life is good. Let's see what else they want us to do. So again, they want us to work backwards a little bit. So just a practice from similar to what we did yesterday. So remember, always start with your x's. And this one is going to be at -3. It's a closed circle, so it's either going to be less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. It looks like everything that's less than is shaded, so we're going to have x is less than or equal to -3. This one is at 5. It's an open circle, so less than or greater than. And it looks like everything greater than is shaded, so there's my problem. Alright, so you are finished. That is solving equations just with adding and subtracting.